Hey guys, welcome back to Countdown to the Castle. My name's Joey, here with my beautiful wife co-host, Marissa.
Hey guys.
So in today's episode, we are going to be ranking Walt Disney World attraction queue lines. But before we get into that, you got any news for us?
I do. I have lots of news. I think this is going to be one of the longer news segments.
Oh, yeah.
But it's all very interesting and definitely will affect how you vacation at Disney World. So, for starters, let's just talk about the obvious. No, let's not. Let's wait because we have things to say.
Yes.
So, a new hotel is coming to Disney World. Have you seen this?
I have not actually.
Yes. So
News to me.
They just announced it a few days ago, and it's really exciting. So this is going to be on Bay Lake.
Bay Lake.
And it's going to go where River Country was. And so this is going to be called Lakeshore Lodge. And it'll be opening in 2027. And this is going to be a DVC resort. And, you know, there was a hotel resort that they had announced a long time ago.
So is it deluxe or what is it?
Yeah, it'll be a deluxe resort because all DVC resorts are deluxe resorts.
Okay.
So a long time ago, Disney announced that a resort would be called Reflections would be coming to Disney. And then like nothing kind of happened with that. So this is kind of the ode to Reflections and kind of like building that. So it's really exciting. I think it looks like it's going to be beautiful. It looks like it's going to have some kind of like bungalow attached to it. I'm sure it's going to be expensive.
Yeah, most likely.
And you know, Disney's turn to DVC has been sharp and fast. I don't know how to feel about, like, I just feel like it's so like we're very limited in where we can stay.
Oh yeah, we'll be at value.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I think that's fine. Like, maybe we do just stay value moderate. Maybe once, you know, in a while, throw in a deluxe just for like, you know, occasions. But
yeah, maybe one night.
Yeah, right, one night. But I mean, at least this gives us something to like go to and like do and things like that. So I'm really excited about that.
Nice.
The next piece of news is over at Epcot, and it's in Soarin', the ride. And if you guys remember the very last scene where you kind of fly in over Epcot.
Did see this.
Yeah, it's really sad because our last episode, we did like all like extinct Disney and like Disney from our childhood and like things that we miss. And like pretty much a big part of it was the main area for Epcot, like with the umbrellas and electric umbrella, things like that. And so the scene in Soarin' for the longest time was that old Epcot that you'd fly over. Not anymore. They've updated it.
Terrible.
So not like big news. That one's not big news, but
it's terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible. And I was like, it just was funny that it kind of fell like right after we did like a whole episode about things like that.
No.
The next piece is I'm going to jump over to Universal because Wicked is technically Universal.
Yes.
Just saw it. Amazing.
I did not
Literally
see it.
Obsessed. And that's all I have to say about it. But Wicked did amazing. And
she's been listening to the soundtrack all day, every day
all the time.
of that movie and is reciting every word. So
yeah,
it's been great.
So I'm going to try and get him to go. But yeah, any other Wicked fans, let us know over at Countdown to the Castle for our Instagram. And we can be besties. And then, of course, we have the news. That happened like the day after we posted our last episode.
This is crazy.
So
out of the blue, nowhere.
Yeah. So what the news is this piece of the news isn't that groundbreaking, but at D23 they announced that they were going to come out with a Monsters Inc. land. Well, everybody was speculating kind of the different areas. They thought maybe Muppets Courtyard, maybe Animations Courtyard, whatever it is. But it was confirmed. Yeah, it was confirmed that it will be going to Muppets Courtyard. And so with this, that means Pizza Rizzo's gone, which not a tough loss, I'd say.
Bye.
Mama Melrose, I'm assuming, is going to leave. The store over there is like never open, so like not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So, and then of course that means that the Muppets show, the 3D show, is also going to leave. And that was like the last remnants of Muppets in the parks.
Yeah.
So then Disney was like, okay, hear us out.
Yeah.
We're not going to take them away completely. We're going to put them somewhere else. Why don't you?
So they're taking away Rock and Roller Coaster, Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster, and replacing it with Muppets So it's going to be the same ride, same roller coaster, but it's going to be a Muppets theming, which was absolutely absurd to me.
Literally, I thought it was parody. Like, they posted it, and then I started seeing everybody else post it, and I was like, guys, this is getting out of hand. This, like, is coming from, like, Mousetrap News. You know? Like,
Mousetrap News got him.
I was like, no way, this is real, whatever. And then, like, I saw that it wasn't. I was like, what?
I mean, I don't, like, necessarily hate it completely.
No, I don't, yeah.
But it was just wild. Just out of the blue.
Yeah.
Very random. They just kind of went off with it.
I literally I just feel weird about it. And, like, I really don't, like, I'm not, like, first of all, can't ride Rock and Roller Coaster. Second, I don't really care about Aerosmith. I know, like, 3 songs, and, like, I'm not that, and I understand that the younger generation definitely doesn't know who they are.
Yeah.
So we knew Rock and Roller Coaster was going to get a retheme. I just wasn't expecting this one.
Yep, was not.
And I don't know how they're going to do it. Me and Joey were kind of talking about this. It's like, are they the Muppets going to do covers?
Aerosmith is going to be a Muppet. That's what I said.
No, I don't. They're going to get rid of them completely. Like Steve Tyler as a Muppet.
Yeah.
Or Stephen Perry.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. See?
Yeah.
Irrelevant to me. Sorry, Dad. You're probably not going to like that one.
Yeah,
But,
right.
Okay, so that's kind of it for the news. I'm indifferent. I think it's more of the shock factor more than anything.
Listen, we knew it was going to get changed. I think this was just an easy switch up.
Yeah.
They were looking after all the Muppets OGers.
Yeah,
and
they
were
knew
like,
that people were going to be mad.
let's just drop it here. So,
Yeah.
I mean, don't hate it. Don't love it. But I think it'll be good.
I do like Muppets representation, but,
Yeah.
Anyway.
You want that 3D guy in there, too?
The 3D guy? Oh, no. The little weird blue purple guy?
Yeah.
I hate that guy.
That guy's cool.
So, yeah, that is all the news that we have for today. Kind of a lot, I feel like. Really big heavy hitters. So let us know how you kind of feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
I just posted a reel to our Instagram that I feel like sums up how we feel about it.
Yeah, right.
I'm fine. I'm fine. No, I'm totally fine. So, okay. Well, why don't you tell them what we're doing, and maybe we can just get straight into the episode.
Alrighty. So like I said, we are ranking attraction queue lines in Walt Disney World.
We're going to do the best, and we're going to do the worst. So we have our top 8 and our bottom 8.
That's right. So with our bottom 8, we are going to go through it 1 through 8, with 1 being the worst attraction queue line and 8 being like the most tolerable worst attraction queue line.
Number 1 is the absolute worst queue line.
And then for our top 8, same thing goes. Number 1 will be the best attraction queue line in our opinion, and number 8 will be, the least favorite attraction queue line.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're just going to kind of take turns, go through it, talk about each attraction queue line and why we think it deserves to be in the spot that we've ranked it in.
100%. I think, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see how many of them we have. Because what I did for this episode was I kind of just went through the Disney app and, like, looked at all these attractions and rides and kind of, like, I just thought, I was like, is this a notable queue to me? And so some queues I was like, it's like you're kind of good, but you're also kind of bad. So, like, I just didn't worry about these. What I did was I looked and I was like, you're notably bad or you're notably good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my
So
list.
I kind of, I took everything into consideration. I took everything into consideration.
And that's probably the way that I should have done it. I was just going off
there
the
are
vibes.
some good rides in my bottom 8. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
We'll get
I
to
agree.
it.
I
We'll
definitely
get to
agree.
it.
All right. So do you want to probably start in the bottom, right?
Yeah, we'll do bottoms first.
Okay.
And we'll start from number 8, which is our most tolerable worst attraction queue line. And do want to note that we did not include shows in this.
Oh, yeah. Just kind of like rides.
This is
and
all
attractions.
rides.
Yeah.
Everything
It's just
ride
rides, yeah.
related. So, me or you?
You go for it.
Me?
What is your number 8 worst queue in Disney World?
Number 8 worst queue, which again, this is the most tolerable worst queue, in my opinion. Space Mountain.
Okay. See, that didn't even make my list anywhere.
Really?
But I will say that queue is rough.
Yeah, I
once
mean,
you get into like the main
it's
loading
definitely
area.
rough. And I put it at number 8 because I'm like, I like the queue, but it's also like, I don't like it.
It's like you're inside at least, right? So that's something to consider.
Yeah, so you're inside, but the worst part is you get the same like outer space music the whole time. It makes it feel like I'm in an alternate universe or something.
See,
like I'm lost. Like I'm lost or whatever. And it's probably 2 miles long. Definitely 2 miles long. There's hills in it, so your calves are hurting. It's not a relaxing wait. Like you're going up a hill. Like at least put like like the moving escalators. They're like just like the ones where you stand on it. It's not like the stairs.
You're making America look really bad right now.
But like they used to have like the games that you played when you got later up in the line.
Right, but those don't work anymore,
gone.
Right?
They're gone. So now it's just like and you just listen to that the whole time. But I still like it because it's nostalgic.
Right. It's like, for me, the front half until you get to the switchbacks is not the worst part.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like a little bit cozy. You're starting to get, and especially that big tunnel where like you can just like zoom through it and like everybody, But yeah, once you get to the switchbacks, that gets really rough.
Yeah, it's definitely rough. But yeah, that's why
I totally agree. I really like the position there. Okay, so I have 9. Excuse me.
Nice.
I have 9.
We'll go with 9 for you then.
My bad. I can do 2 in a row.
Yeah,
to make
do
it
2
even.
in a row. We're chilling.
So for my number 9 of the worst cues, I have Living with the Land.
Living with the Land.
And so yeah, it's on my worst because it's straight.
But that is
switchbacks.
number 9.
Number 9. Oh
Yeah,
gosh,
that's like borderline middle though,
it's
like almost good.
Like it's like the only reason that I took points off was because it's a boring queue and it's entirely switchbacks. But
That's crazy. It's that high up in that list. Though.
Yeah. So I don't know, because also for me, I was thinking, okay, so I'm guessing you have this on your list.
Yeah.
Is it kind of a spoiler if you tell us?
I do have it on my list.
Do you want to wait and tell us where it is?
Yeah, I'll wait and tell you.
So my thought process was, you know what? It's extremely boring and it's all switchbacks, but how often am I waiting that long in it? Like, I did kind of think about that. Like, it's not the worst queue because, like, it's just not, like, that long of a queue, you know?
But there's no, like, theming in it,
but
like, whatsoever.
You're right. Like, it's entirely boring. But it is inside, and, like, it is kind of air-conditioned, and, like, maybe you can grab, like, something, and, like...
That queue is, like, super tight, though.
It is tight. The one time we waited like 45, 50 minutes in that queue, and that really solidified kind of how bad that queue is. So, and like I said, I don't have all the rides on my list, so it truly is like the notably bad ones.
Yeah.
If it's on this list, it's still bad. You know what I mean? Like, it still made the list.
Yeah, but it's very close to your top 8.
Yeah. So, my number 8 though is Big Thunder.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I was kind of going through it with this one because I put it on here because I've had some rough times in that queue because of how hot it can get.
Okay, a lot of people do say it's hot.
It's a very
But that's my only
queue.
gripe about it, is that it's hot.
It's not interactive. Like, I don't hate, like, I can see, the mountain, and like sometimes parts of it you can see like the right. So it's like, it's not the worst in terms of that, but
I do hate the initial part of the queue before you get under the roof. It's still hot once you're under.
I was going to say, I still don't like it under the roof.
hate that initial like outside area.
And it's one of those queues where it's like you can't see the entire queue from like the beginning of the queue. So it's like each time you round a corner, you're like, you know what I mean? Like, you still got more to go. So
that is right.
That's why you were there. But it's number 8, so it's not like horrible.
9 for you's Living with the Land. You got Big Thunder Mountain for 8.
That's right.
Just a reminder, my 8 was Space Mountain. Number 7, that's going to shock the world.
Oh my gosh.
Okay? Because this is one of my favorite rides.
At
Disney.
Yeah.
And I put at number 7, Dinosaur.
This is crazy. So we didn't talk about these at all before because we like to, ad-lib while we're doing it. But that's great. I'll tell you it's okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So Dinosaur, and it sucks because I was like, I really like the loading area, but I'm not going to count that as a queue because once you get in there, you're pretty much on the ride.
No, that definitely counts. I mean, you're like up on the walkway.
For like 2 seconds. But
gosh. Okay.
The beginning part, the show is terrible to me. I don't like it. And then the beginning part.
You don't like any pre-show.
Think about that queue line.
I am thinking about it.
Before you get in, it's long. Have you waited outside before? You're outside.
Outside?
I was outside for 30 plus minutes waiting for that ride.
Here's what I know and remember about the Dinosaur queue line is that I've never waited outside at
Oh,
Dinosaur.
I waited outside.
But second, it's the Dino Institute. So like you're literally in the museum basically, and it's really cool.
It's very barren.
Oh,
Not a lot,
what?
not too much to look at. Once you get in the circle room, it's like
I'm gonna tell you this is on my top 8 best.
wow, crazy.
So
crazy.
that's
okay,
very
but granted, this is at
polarizing.
7. This is
Yeah.
at 7.
Yeah, but still, it's not like we're going 1 through 16 here. It's like these are our bottom 8 out of
Yeah, I
all
said
the rides.
it's a tolerable. It's a bad queue, but it's tolerable.
Okay, all right.
But yeah,
That is crazy.
don't like the whole initial
I
part.
don't know. I don't know what you're talking about waiting outside.
There's some
I don't wait with
loops
you
and
typically.
stuff in the back.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
It's like if you're looking at the ride from the front, if you go to the right, once you go in, there's like a whole lot of turns and twists back there.
Wow. Well, I just feel like Dinosaur's never really like that long of a wait.
No.
Maybe 30.
30,
Sometime.
35, 45.
Okay.
In the morning, it's like 10, 15.
Right.
You don't ever see it. If you go in the
Yeah.
morning, you're not going to see it. But if you go like later on, yeah, you'll see
Yeah.
that wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 7 is Soarin'. And I know we honestly give Soarin' a lot of crap for their queue. And the reason I don't
quite
like their
literally
queue,
awful.
but hold on. The reason I don't like their queue, it's still on my worst because of how I just feel like I'm never moving. I just feel like I'm standing at the one spot before they like put you on the thing for so long.
You're talking about like when you get into the concourses.
When you get into the concourses,
not the big wide hallway
Yeah.
that everyone's in.
honestly, the big wide hallway is not that bad. It's wide, it's cool, it's large, so you kind of feel a little bit airy. But
get
once you
cut.
get into the concourses, I'm literally like, this sucks. Like you were waiting there so
No,
long.
my least favorite part of that is waiting inside the cage area where you're watching the pre-show video.
That does suck too. Yeah.
Ooh, that's the worst.
I know that is lame, but I like put it on there. I'm feeling a little bit bad about putting it on there because it's not the worst. I just feel like I'm moving so slow in that queue.
Yeah,
and that's kind of
definitely.
why it's on my list.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Is that it?
What's
All
your
right.
number 6?
My number 6 is Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah. So this isn't on my list. Heavily considered. I think if I had to, I'd probably replace Soarin' with this one. Buzz, in general.
Well, their queue is just terrible. I mean, it's outside.
It's so small.
More than half of it's outside. The inside of the queue is very small. The only thing they got going
Tight.
for them is the Buzz Lightyear animatronic.
And the loading zone. I like the loading zone. In theory, this should be moving so fast.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's a slow moving queue, but it's just that's a bad
Oh, yeah.
queue.
I
That
mean,
that
it's-
whole area of Tomorrowland is
Yeah, it's quite
dingy.
literally terrible.
yeah.
Like, I'd rather wait on Astro Orbiter.
Well, we'll get into that. But so okay, yeah, I agree with you on that one. My number 6 is, and I don't know if this is a hot take, but Tower of Terror.
Are you joking?
Yeah, so
You're
hear me out.
psycho.
Hear me out. Hear me
Oh
out.
my Lanta.
So
Yeah, you're gonna get some hate for that one.
I need to explain myself. So, Tower of Terror made my bottom worst queues.
That's number 6 for you?
That's number 6.
Oh my, like you put Living with the Land at number 9.
Yeah. So, because here's the thing. Why do you like Tower of Terror's line?
Well, I just love well, really at night I love it.
Okay, but you don't get to say that. Say you want to write it at 2 in the afternoon.
Dude, I love their queue. First of all, I mean, outside, granted, it's a little whatever, but it's still fun to hear the screams from the people in the Tower of Terror, see the garden and stuff, and then walk up to the front lobby. The front lobby is freaking
Okay,
beautiful.
but- okay,
Like, that is a
You're
great
in
part.
the lobby for maybe 5 minutes.
It's still nice. Like, I still like looking at the lobby, you know?
So let me explain myself.
Very good theming.
Hey, let me explain myself. So you go in and you have to go through like the back, like the I'm trying to
Just
think.
like the front garden area.
Yeah. And it's hot back there. And there's foliage and it makes it hotter. It's just like the reason Animal Kingdom's so hot. It just feels like I'm trapped. And so I
The
hate that.
screams, man.
I also I don't mind when we get onto the porch and into the lobby. Obviously, that's really cool. But that is the only part that's not bad. Once I get into the
Love the pre-show.
Okay, I like the pre-show, but the boiler room, horrible. Horrible. The amount of anxiety I have in that room, terrible.
Crazy.
Do I go left? Do I go right? Am I going to make it? Is someone going to toss a penny? I don't know. Like, all these things are running through my mind.
You're letting your fears get in the way.
No, but also, like, the garden.
Theming.
Like, that's not, it's so hot.
No.
All right.
And the cast members are part of the queue line, too, so I love them.
Yes, you're right.
They're good.
If you guys can tell me, like, if more than, like, 5 people can tell me, like, no, Marissa, like, you're crazy.
Oh, you'll have more than that.
I'll like, reconsider. But as for now, it's my number 6.
Wow. Insane take.
Go ahead.
Number 5 for me is Spaceship Earth. Terrible.
Yeah, I had considered putting this on my list.
So
tell
there's
me
just,
why.
like, okay, I get it. It's a fast line.
Right.
They don't really need
why
much.
I didn't put it on there.
But there is absolutely no theming to that line whatsoever. Yeah. It's just a couple switchbacks, and then you walk into the ride. It's absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
It can be long sometimes,
and
if it's long, then you're hot, Like, it's just not a fun line to stand in. You're not, other than looking forward to the actual ride, you're not.
I fully agree.
There's nothing to look at.
The only reason it didn't make my list is because of how infrequently we do have to wait for a long line, which I guess I could use that same language with living with the land. But I agree with you. We did wait with my family and your family on our engagement trip.
Yeah.
And it was long.
It was like down the side of it.
Yeah. And so, it can get like, because it has to stop so often that it can back up. I agree. That is a bad. It basically isn't even a queue. Yeah. When we're on it, not in a queue. I totally agree.
But yeah, number 5 for me.
Okay, so my number 5, we're going to go across the street from my number 6, and we're going to do Rock and Roller Coaster.
Rock and Roller Coaster. Okay, I can agree for half of it.
Yeah, and I was thinking, I was like, the pre-show, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. And then once you get into like the garage, like alleyway or
I like
whatever,
that part, yeah.
It's kind of cozy, but everything before, and truly,
yeah, it's terrible.
It's horrible. And like them filling you in to get into the pre-show, absolutely horrible. And the outside is like the worst, like the worst.
It's terrible.
And it only made it to number 5, like halfway on my list, because of the inside being not that bad.
Yeah.
But the outside, it really brought it down.
Yeah, I agree. That's a pretty bad one.
Yeah.
That didn't make my list anywhere though. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we'll move on to number 4 for me, and we're getting into some bad.
Yeah, these are real bad.
These like
top 4 definitely.
Yeah, top 4. We're getting in some bad lines. So she just said it earlier for I think like her number 6 or something, but it is my number 4, and that is Soarin'.
Yeah.
And we'll just do the quick recap.
Yep.
The queue line, quite literally terrible. It's so wide, so if you're in like a party of 2, it's kind of awkward because you have to space out, but it's like a 5-person wide line, so you're making sure people don't cut you. It's kind of hot in there every time I've gone. I think it's kind of hot, especially when you get into the concourses. Like we were talking about, hate standing in the concourses, feel like you're there for 30 minutes. The pre-show's terrible. Like, terrible. And then
these little beauties.
The exit queue line just takes me 2 miles to get out of there. So,
yeah,
all in all, that's
true.
My number 4 spot. The only thing they have going for them is that you can get on the app and play a game. So, it's a little interactive.
Yeah, but I feel like you're never that far back anymore.
Yeah.
All right. I agree with you. My number 4, Jungle Cruise.
Jungle Cruise. Okay.
Yeah, and you know what? It's like this one you are almost guaranteed at least a 30-minute wait. If it's Jungle Cruise, at least like 45.
Yeah.
And it's all outside, obviously. It does have shade, but it's very tight. Very, very narrow. And it is kind of all switchbacks. And it's cool because you can see the boats like coming all the time, but at some point, I don't care anymore. You know what I mean? Like 40 minutes later, I'm like, I've seen so many boats go by.
Oh, yeah.
And also, it's just,
So this is at your 4. Man, your rankings are questionable.
Okay. I mean, perhaps. I think that I didn't have a rigorous classification. kind of system here. And so I kind of, like I said, I was going off of vibes. And so like
Vibes.
we fleshed the more we flesh it out, I'm like, maybe I could have been a little better with like consistency, but I stand firm.
You stand firm. Living with the
Yep.
land is 9, which is crazy. I'm just gonna keep going with
I don't
that.
think that, I feel like there are other questionable ones more than living with the land.
Wild.
Okay. What's your number 3?
3. It's a small world after all.
Thank you for that,
Yeah,
first of all.
That's
But
right.
yeah, I mean, I also considered putting this on my list.
It's like what is there? What is in that line? I mean, you can look. You get to see the loading area the whole time. So I mean, that's okay. It's kind
Yeah.
of cool. But there's nothing like getting me excited
It's
for
also
this
like
ride.
kind of air conditioned, kind of not.
And sometimes it has a long wait, and I'm like, for what?
Literally, it does. That's crazy.
What are we getting this boat ride for? This
Yeah, I honestly can't even like, other than the strip before loading, I can't even like remember. Oh yeah, I can. It's basically the same thing, but I don't think it's the worst queue.
That's why I didn't put it at number
Clearly,
1.
you think it's pretty bad, but
I put it
think
at number 3.
I think
There's
you
worse.
put biases into the
No,
queue.
I mean, what's in that queue line? Come on, it's just like
get to see like the Mary
switchbacks, and
Blair
you go down
stuff.
the ramp, and then you get on the ride, and it's not the greatest ride ever.
I don't like
Bring
standing in
Muppets
it
to Magic
because
Kingdom.
I feel weird. Anything to do with it, so I just feel weird.
I'm saying Muppets can take it over, and it would be a better boat ride.
No, that's sacrilege for Disney fans. Okay, so my number 3, Tomorrowland Speedway.
Okay.
I feel like this doesn't. First of all, it's all switchbacks until you get outside of the shade, and then you're just in the blazing heat. You're smelling the fumes. It's just very, very poorly done.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Tomorrowland
I
Speedway.
totally agree. That is. Yeah. Yeah, that's a bad one.
Is that on your list?
Sure.
Okay.
We'll move on to my number 2.
Okay.
Living with the Land.
Oh.
Absolutely terrible. Again, we'll just recap. There's nothing in it. It's just switchbacks, and if it's long, it makes it even worse. It's super tight. You can't breathe in it. But yeah, that's my number 2.
Okay. I think that's an interesting debate to have. At least we're not like on like best and worst like one of ours was like completely different. Okay, so my number 2, I think my top 3, there's no arguing. So I'm just going to say it and kind of move on pretty fast, but Slinky Dog, it's hot. Most of it you're going to be, well, not most of it, but there's a lot of times that you will be outside of the even like ride queue. It's a makeshift queue and it's outside.
And they used to not have those umbrella
Umbrellas?
things, the metal umbrellas above the line. Now they do. They still don't do anything. I mean,
No.
it provides like a small amount of shade, but you're still getting blasted by the sun.
Yeah.
But
It's a tough queue to wait to end during the day.
yeah, it's a bad one. It's a bad one. At night, I'm chilling.
It's just because Toy Story Land just didn't have a lot of room, I think.
So I didn't put this one. This one's not on my list, so it's not my one. But I didn't put it on just because I like the props. I like seeing the ride.
Yeah.
I like the setting of the ride. I like the props that are in the queue line. So I was like, you know what?
Agree with you.
I'll take away the heat.
Yeah,
And
but that ain't going away.
yeah. So, but yeah, I agree. I like
All
it.
right, so it's your number 1.
Number 1.
What's the worst queue in Disney World?
Speedway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, I think that's an easy. I think that's
This is easy.
That's funny because the conversation now continues to my number 1, and it's Astro Orbiter, which is also in Tomorrowland. So
yeah.
the 2
See, I
worst
considered.
queues are in Tomorrowland.
Yeah,
so
definitely considered Astro Orbiter in that spot. But
Yeah.
I was like, Speedway is just bad.
Speedway is bad.
Just
Speedway is
switchbacks.
really bad.
And then, like you said, you get on the bridge and you're just getting blasted by the sun. They added a couple little umbrellas in the line, but like they don't do anything.
You literally don't even
You're
get
still
to stand in them.
hot. Like she said, you're smelling the fumes. You're getting dizzy.
You're getting dizzy.
The ride's old. I mean, it's gotta go. But
But Astro Orbiter, I think that's the worst because, first of all, it's always a little bit like hard to decipher between like which is the queue line for Astro versus People Mover. Like it's those metal chains that I absolutely hate. and then you have to get on this dreaded elevator, and that's why it's so slow. It's such a slow attraction queue.
I still have never been on it.
Yeah, well, and that's fair. Like, you have not waited in it, but it's bad. It's really bad.
I can only imagine. I mean, I see it, but yeah, it looks bad. I agree.
Okay. All right.
1.
So our bottom 8 queues. Let's move on to our top 8 queues
And
of
we'll
Disney World.
start with number 8.
Yeah.
So this is our least favorite of our favorites going on right here.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
number 8, I put Toy Story Mania.
Yeah, I really heavily considered doing this one.
you?
Yeah, because
Did
I love the props in it.
I
and
almost
it's
kept
so
it off
cool.
entirely on both lists because I was like, it's one of those where like I like, but like I also don't like. Like I
There
wouldn't
are
want to wait
some
in
things,
it,
yeah.
but I do think they themed it very well.
Yeah.
It gets you in the mood to get on the ride.
I think if I'm gonna wait, I'm not worried about waiting in that one that much. You know,
I mean there is a lot of switchbacks. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but the theming is there. Like,
and it is like when you walk into this queue, boom, hit with cool AC.
board games, toys, all this stuff. It makes you feel like you're in Andy's room. Makes you feel like you're shrunken down to a toy
It really does a good
size.
job of making you
Yeah.
feel like you're a toy.
It's really good. So that's why I put it at number 8. Because
Yeah.
I don't think it's the best, but I don't think it's, the worst.
My number 8, I think, is also gonna get some. I don't know, but it's Navi River Journey.
Navi River. I can see that.
People hate waiting in this line, and I don't know if it's because of the queue, but
I like it.
I like the queue too. I
I
don't
like
know
it.
if it's because we go in the morning more, like only ever.
Yeah, we rope drop Navi
We
River.
rope drop Navi, but it's really cool. You have the sounds of like Avatar or Pandora.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
I think it's really kind of cozy.
It is a cozy line.
Yeah, so
Play some games while you're waiting.
yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like maybe because we're just spry at the time, so like we're just like happy to be there.
Yeah.
And I think that probably could do with it a lot. But yeah, I don't ever think it's like that bad of a queue.
No, I don't think so either. I mean,
Okay.
it does go round and round and round
Yeah.
in circles. And
If I
but-
waited like 60 in the queue, maybe.
yeah, like if it was
but
like at the entrance, I'd be like, all right.
yeah, I think I
But
agree.
I do think it's a nice queue.
Yeah,
I
all
like
right,
it.
Good.
Cool.
I'm glad we agree.
Nice.
All right, what's your number
7? This is pretty interesting. I think you're gonna think I'm like whoa, like whatever. But I put Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah.
I did put Little Mermaid
Yeah.
just because like the outside of the queue is so well detailed.
Yeah.
Like the waterfalls and all like the caves and
Yes.
stuff and all the detail throughout the caves. Even once you're inside of I guess you want to call it a mountain, or I guess you're in a cave. So once you get in the cave, all the detail in there, I just think it's nice. Like,
Yes, and it's
nice
cool.
and long. There's a lot to look at, and I like Little Mermaid. So
I 100% agree.
Do you?
And that's kind of all I'm going to say on that one for now.
Cool.
So my number 7 is Rise of the Resistance. I think we've talked about this before. About it's not like that. It's the queue. I mean, the queue is amazing because you have things like, stormtroopers, like all the rides and things like that. But in terms of like non-entertainment part of the queue, there's places to kind of like sit down in between.
There's a lot to look at.
Yeah, there's AC. You're not in the sun, so I don't think it's a bad
And I like
queue
the
at all.
outside
I
area.
like it. Yeah, it's very well themed. There's things, definitely like props and stuff to look at, like when you're actually in the queue. So yeah, my number 7.
I agree with that.
Thank you.
Well, I don't agree with the placement, but
Oh,
I agree that it should be
in the top.
in the top 8.
Perfect.
Cool.
We can agree on that.
Nice. So my number 6 is, and you're going to disagree with me on this one also,
Okay, which one did
because
I?
it's kind of like the same as Tower of Terror, I feel like, in your eyes.
Oh.
But it's going to be Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, I considered putting this in my worst.
Wow.
So especially after our last encounter.
It's a good vibe. It's crazy. This is crazy, but I've actually never walked through that entire line before our last trip.
Yeah, you didn't know that the whole graveyard scene was back
did not
there.
know that. So I've always gotten the fast passes and went through the fast pass line. So we actually got to go in the line. We had a really bad experience because they were doing really slow. I think we waited over an hour for a posted 35-minute wait.
Yeah, it was tough.
But I did enjoy the graveyard. I thought it was really cool. All the tombstones had stuff on them. There was a lot to look at.
Maybe if it's a consistently moving line, maybe.
But especially at night. I think it's really cool at night to walk through that.
Yeah, because you do get to go see, like, you can see Tom Sawyer, like like a little bit of Big Thunder, the riverboat.
Hey, and if you're there during fireworks, we did find out
literally,
they
like,
shoot
under.
out right behind the tombstones in the back or whatever. But it's really cool. And it has some interactive things in there. You saw the instruments on the
Yeah, it
big
does.
tombstone thing. Yeah, I just think it's really cool. And then once you get inside, it's really cool. I love the stretching.
Hate the going from the stretching room to the the loading
Yeah, it's
area.
a little bit of a
That's
race,
horrible.
but that anticipation builds up. I love it. I love all of it. It's pretty good.
I'm not gonna hate on you for that decision, but I think during the day that line really does get hot, especially under that like tarp that they have or like the tent. It does kind of get heat, but
Yeah, for sure.
I think if it's consistently moving, I might. So my number 6 is Dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
Yeah, because
Wow.
I will
let's hear
say
your good
I
explanation.
will say that it's been a while since I've waited in the queue for Dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I remember, I loved this queue line because you're in the Dino Institute. I've always been very like cool. So you have the one like
You've
part
been cool.
like chill, like AC, you know.
Oh, okay.
And I'm cool all the time.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I don't have to be.
I was just
a dinosaur.
confirming.
Yeah, thank you. And so like you walk through, and then like you have the whole like reimagining of like the skeleton of these dinosaurs. I think that's really cool. I think the loading zone's really cool. I don't mind the pre-show really at all.
Yeah.
And it's just very clean. Like I really like the feeling. Like it feels like I'm in like Night of the Museum or something. Like I like that museum feel. So
It's a very nostalgic queue too.
Yeah.
Like it brings me back to like the old Disney days. So I'll give it that.
Yeah.
I'll give it that. But yeah, obviously don't agree.
Yeah,
but,
we're on literally different spectrums on that one.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting one. If more than 5 people can tell Joey, then maybe he'll reconsider.
Right. So my number 5 is Pirates.
Yeah, I think I don't have this on my list, but I considered putting it on there.
Did you?
Best.
This one was hard because I was like, the initial does.
Yeah.
It's bad.
When you're outside of the like stone portion, like the actual inside of the queue, when you're outside of that is not a good queue, which is why it's not on my list.
Once you're inside, it's really nice. I think it's nice and cool in there. It's not too hot.
Coolish, yeah.
There's some cool things to look at. Like you actually pointed out to me the
chess game.
The chess game at the bottom. That was cool. Never really noticed that. But they got like all these little props, like these guns, like pirates' guns and stuff like that, and all the jail cells. Of course,
I love the smell.
Obviously, the smell. I mean, that was a lot of points right there for me in this queue. Love the smell of that water.
And you just feel like I'm always pretty much okay with waiting because it's pirates, But to me, it didn't make the list just because too many times recently we've been on the outside of the queue, and in fact the last trip almost every time we passed pirates it was like outside of the building, like where the flag is in switchbacks, and I was like, that is tough. That's a tough queue.
But I do also love the loading area too. So it's a nice vibe. It's really good. Love it.
I can see why it's on your list.
Yep. So that's my number 5.
All right, so my number 5 is the Grand Fiesta Tour.
Whoa.
So, and I want to explain myself because I understand that the queue is minimal and the queue is not, I don't know. I
wasn't even thinking about that.
You're in the Mexican pavilion, right? Like you're in that vibe and like it's just the vibes of being in the pyramid.
Okay.
That got it on the list. And first of all, it's an incredibly fast moving queue.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you can hear the music, you feel like the vibes, you can have a little margarita until you get on the ride, you can't bring it on the ride.
Yeah.
But I'm like, such a vibe. And so it's like, it's in that middle area.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
So
sure.
it's not like great, but like it's pretty
8.
good.
Should be on your bottom 8.
I don't think that. I disagree on that.
All right, cool. That's your number. What was that?
That was my number 5. So you're going to tell us your number 4.
Marissa.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good spot.
No. But your list is crazy. Absolutely absurd.
Okay, go.
But my number 4 is Everest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only reason I didn't is because I hadn't been on the queue in very long, so I was
It's one of the most well-themed queue lines
so good.
I've ever seen at Disney.
I totally agree.
All the decor just hanging up and stuff like that, and then you're literally like, you get to like read all these things. It's like exploration huts and stuff like that. It's getting you ready. Like it's
very
building
immersive.
It's building you up for what you're about to go do. You know, right up to the mountains, find the Yeti and all that. Like it's
so well
super
themed.
immersive. I mean, it's like a museum in itself.
Yeah.
The whole queue is.
I totally agree.
So, like I said, there's a lot to look at. It's good fun and
Fun.
Good fun.
It's good fun.
But yeah, love that queue line. It's amazing.
I totally agree. Yeah, for sure. And especially now that it's not like super long, like Everest doesn't really top those weights that it used to. So it's like, obviously, it's almost like I want to go through the queue. Like this is one of those rides that like I want. And
there's not like switchbacks in a way. It's all like
it's just a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey. It's not like repetitive. Like it brings you somewhere new, different turn. You're
so right. I'm so glad that you put that on there. I really neglected that one.
Yeah. So
my next one I kind of feel gives similar vibes of why I put it on there, and it's Star Tours. You never are in the outside. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
He's giving me like the preacher, like, yes, Lord. So,
yes.
This is a really good queue.
Dang it.
And very immersive. Once you get inside, very cool. Tons to look at. I love the big trees. I think that's really cool. The big, like, I don't even know what it's called.
Star Tours is underrated.
Yeah. So, I think this is just a really good queue.
It is, dude. I mean, it's super immersive. Love the little robot guy.
C-3PO?
No, it's like a different robot.
BB-8?
No, it's a different robot.
R2-D2?
No, it's a different robot.
There are probably a lot of robots that I don't know.
He kind of looks like a cockroach thing.
Oh, I see. Are you talking about the one that like
funny,
puts the rebel spy in his like claws? Does he have pinchers?
So. I'm not too sure.
Okay, anyway.
He's in the queue line though. But I think it's really cool, and then you also see the ship that you're about to go on in the queue line
really
with
cool.
R2-D2.
And it has like what's on the screens that's playing? They have like screens that are like playing something, not like a movie, but like they're playing something that's really cool.
Yeah, I do love that queue line, and I pointed that out to you. Like I think like our 3 trips ago, I was like, you know what? I really enjoy that queue line.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Yeah, I like it, but it did not make my list.
There are a lot of other good ones, so I can understand.
It was on my list, and then I changed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Flight of Passage.
Yes. This is another one that I hadn't been in a very long time, so I was a little apprehensive to put it on there. But while I was thinking about Navi River, I was like, you know what? From what I remember, Flight of Passage line is pretty cool.
Yeah. So obviously the initial outside area is really cool. You're underneath all the mountains.
Yeah,
true. Like waterfalls and stuff. And all these like cool flowers and just a lot to look at. And then once you get inside, you got like the bioluminescent room that you go through with all the trees and stuff. And then you go through the laboratories. You get to see the animatronic inside like the test tube thing. Like,
yeah, that's cool.
It's really cool. And then I love like the whole loading area where they start splitting you up. It's kind of like how they do Soarin' when they like split you up into different lines or whatever. And then just like them throwing you into your pods. So like they're like, this group, you get to take these stairs up to the left
that is cool.
Stuff like that. Like I just think
I love waiting for you. I love exiting that ride too because
do you? I've never been through the exit.
Yes, you have.
Well, like not your exit.
No.
She doesn't go on it. So
yeah,
like,
I do, but like it is kind of funny because it's like this and like Jimmy Fallon and like a few other rides that like they'll have like the 4 different pods and it's in the middle that everybody will leave through just at different times. And so I'm usually just in like the bench, like in the middle of the pods, and I'm just like watching, like just hanging out with like the cast member who's just like putting the 3D glasses back in the thing.
Yeah.
But no, like getting out of this queue line, I think it's just really cool. Like like leaving the ride.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
I love it. I think this is a really good queue line.
I like that.
Really good.
I really like that. So my number 3 is The Seas with Nemo.
Okay.
Is this on your list?
No.
For real?
It's not on my list.
You love this queue.
I do, but I don't think it grants the top 8.
Are you joking? We literally were talking about this last time. It's so good. When it's cool, it's like chilly. It's amazing. You have like the boardwalk, like you're literally walking.
I do like that. It's
you're
good.
walking on
it's
like
good.
shiplap, and you have like this big pier. You have like sand all around you. Then you
Uh-huh.
go like under the water. That's like super cool. That's
Love
such a cool ride.
It is
or
a cool
queue.
queue line. I do agree. It could maybe there was if we did a top 10 list, it could be 9 or 10. But
Oh my gosh!
I don't think
Read
that
me your number 8.
Toy Story. I'll read it back to you. I got Toy Story at number 8, Little Mermaid at number 7, Haunted Mansion at 6, Pirates at 5, Everest at 4, Flight at 3.
I think it could have taken at least 2 of those.
Wow.
So, all right.
Okay.
Well, whatever.
I don't hate it. I don't hate that you put
You
it.
love this queue.
You put that at 3?
I put that at 3. Yes.
That's questionable.
Chest out.
Okay. Wow.
Well, that's the only good part about this ride is the queue.
I think the ride is fun.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Tell us your number 2.
Number 2.
I can't wait to see what these 2 are.
Yes. Number 2 is Tower of Terror.
Oh my God.
This line is absolutely amazing.
We are so not on the same page.
This line is great. I mean, I love the
I
initial
don't
gate.
think you're thinking enough.
Just from the initial gate, like that you walk through. Like I love the cast members right there too.
Yeah, we all
they're
know
pretty cool.
Tower of Terror has good theming.
So then you walk through the gardens, especially at night, and then you hear the screams. You hear the screams of the people falling from the skies.
No, this is
They're going to the Twilight Zone.
top 2.
It just
so
like the
crazy.
anticipation of hearing those screams.
Yeah,
is,
40 minutes later,
is
you're
so
still
cool.
in the
Love
boiler
it.
room.
And then I like the little front courtyard area. I wish that thing was filled up with water, but I get it. It's like an abandoned, rundown hotel. That would have been cool if they had
That's
some
an
water.
interesting thing to think about. You're right.
But I think the details on the building are super cool. Then you walk up to the lobby. The lobby is like the most nostalgic thing on Disney property.
Yeah.
Love that.
It's like 2 seconds of your time.
And then they split you into the rooms. You go to the nice pre-show room where you get to watch that cool video. It's nice and dark.
Tell me one positive thing about the boiler room.
The boiler room? Oh, when you hear the elevators, like when they're going up and stuff like that, and then the lights are flickering on the elevators. It's getting you ready. You know you're about to go to the Twilight Zone.
I think this is probably a pretty polarizing, and I do feel like I'm on the minority in this.
Dude.
But I just don't agree.
Amazing.
I just don't agree.
And then like the loading area right there, and they're talking to you, and they do like the little spiel, and they try to
Here's
act
the
all
thing.
scary.
I feel like, but that's not part of the queue.
Yes, it is.
That's part of the ride.
Once I get on the ride, I'm out of the queue.
Okay. So I feel like if a queue line has like Mr. fans, it's like they're saying like, we know this is a bad queue. Let us help you out a little bit.
No.
And Tower of Terror has them. Ooh, I just thought of another queue line that's kind of horrible that
Honorable mention? Go ahead.
and it's not the whole queue line, which is probably why I didn't think about it, but the outside of Tiana's,
Yeah.
we waited and like before you like everything before seeing her like getting into like the big like thing where you see like her workshop or like making beignets or not even, but like
Yeah.
everything before that, horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Quite literally terrible. There was like one fan.
Yeah, and I was about to say that's another line that has like fans in
it.
it.
It didn't have like the Mr. fan. It was just like the cast members had brought a fan out there.
Yeah.
And they laid it on the
And
ground.
it was,
right there.
I think it was more for them because
And
it
was
didn't touch us really.
right before you get inside too. So
Yeah.
like you get like 2 seconds of the air. It was just pointless. But
Once you get up the stairs, you're doing a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But everything before that is not fun. Okay, sorry to derail that. So now it's my number 2.
it is your number 2.
Okay, Dumbo.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So yes, because do you remember Dumbo's queue? You basically don't have to wait. You're basically you can sit down in the Dumbo queue. Tell me another queue you can do like on your phone scrolling type of sit down. You excuse me. You go in. It's all on your phone. Or no, they give you a little pager like at a restaurant, right? And they page you when it's your time. And then you go and you wait like 2 minutes.
Guys,
yeah, Dumbo.
Cancel Marissa.
What do you mean?
Cancel her.
There's not a better queue line than you can just literally, and especially if you have children, this is the only queue line that I want to be long because then I actually get to go sit down in the playground area. Yeah, if you don't know, what happens is you go in and you initially get put into the playground, a huge playground area with tons of seating. and you get a pager. And then when your pager goes off, you can go and wait like the 2 or 3 minutes that it takes to actually get loaded. But yeah, like all the while that you're waiting, you can just chill as a parent. Your kids can run free. You know, there's no way for them to get out really, I don't think. So it's like, yeah, number 2 for sure. Like name another queue that you can just chill and do nothing in. Exactly. I think
give
that's.
Me a second to
I think.
potentially.
Tell me.
Well, there's
Right.
Right. I mean, there's not one where there's a playground.
Exactly. Exactly. And if we had kids, even more. This would be number 1.
Winnie the Pooh, you can kind of play around.
No, but you're not sitting.
You could.
You always got to do like the little like the butt scooch, like we're moving like a little bit. You know what I mean? No, Dumbo has it figured out. It's as good as what like virtual queue could be. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Sure. Well, tell us your number 1.
All right. So my number 1, and this is my most favorite queue line. Just Q. It is Rise of the Resistance. I think Rise of the Resistance is an excellent queue line. I love the outside. I love the detail there. I love the little like initial cave area you walk through where you can still see the outside. Love that little thing. I think it's a good view right there. I think once you're in the line, there's actually a lot to look at, and it's very interactive. There's a lot of buttons and switches and stuff that you can play around with if you want and make yourself feel cool.
I'm so excited that you chose buttons and switches.
And then there's some rooms where you like go through the armory and you see all the guns and stuff, and then you see all the outfits that they wear. I think it's really cool. It looks legit. Like it looks like straight out of, Star Wars. So that's cool. And then like the pre-show, I think the first pre-show is pretty cool.
I actually think that they consider that to be where the queue line stops.
That's not where I consider it. All right? That's not where I'm considering it. I'll tell you where I'm not done. Okay? So then you're in that little pre-show. They rush you out. They're getting you ready. You get on your little spaceship over there. And then you go through that pre-show. Then when the doors open on the other side of that thing. And, the Empire comes in. And they're like, I don't know what they say, but but they're mean, and they're like, get off my shit, pretty much.
If we're considering that part of the queue, which I don't,
it's a queue. You're still waiting.
It's really cool.
You're still waiting, and then you see all the stormtroopers and all that. It's so cool. And then the loading area where they start like sorting you guys out and stuff, and they're super mean there. That is like one of my favorite parts too.
The loading area is my favorite loading area.
Oh yeah.
It's only your car that's loading that you can like see.
Love it.
And that's really cool.
And I love that like the cast members are like in character. Like they are like they're not like super mean, but they're trying to play the part. Yeah. Obviously we're at Disney, we can't be like crazy, but
making children cry.
Yeah. But they are funny, especially like if there is an adult that they can be mean to, then they'll be mean to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think they yelled at Marissa one time.
Yeah, they did. Because I kept going.
Yeah. But yeah, I think
that's a good one. I think it's questionable, but I will give it to you. And yes, I think
I was going to ask what you think it's questionable for, but we're about to find out what Marissa's number 1 queue line is.
Well, you can't think that it's too crazy because it's on your list.
Okay.
You want to take a guess?
Well, looking back at my list and the way you reacted on one of them, I think I have a feeling that it is Little Mermaid.
It is. What's the thing that I reacted to that made you
said,
think?
Oh, because like, you were surprised it was on my list.
Yeah.
You said,
The Little Mermaid in the Magic Kingdom is my all-time favorite queue.
Mm-hmm.
The ride, like, it's not proportional to how much effort they put into the queue. Like, like really, I love the ride. This is one of my favorite. I love this ride for some reason. But the queue goes so hard.
Yeah, it does.
That like I'm literally like, what? Like the castle is part of the queue. Like it's just it's so cool. And also like Ariel was like, I loved Ariel's, I guess really like the prince's castle, like growing up. Like I just thought it was so cool and to like be able to go through it. Just amazing, super well done. Large scales here.
Oh yeah.
I love the loading, which is really cool. So yeah, I think that's a reasonable number one. Yeah.
So her number 1 is Little Mermaid, and mine is Rise of the Resistance. That's
different.
different.
Different vibes. We were
Definitely
definitely not
different.
in this. I don't even think we were in the same book.
Yeah, I don't think we were in the same
We had
realm.
few that were on opposite lists, which was kind of crazy.
Can I do
so.
an honorable mention for one that I was gonna put on my bottom 8?
On your bottom 8, so the honorable
8.
mention for the worst. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. It was gonna be Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, interesting. I'm not waiting. Oh well.
No, you
No,
have
I did.
It.
No, I did. Yes, I did. I
No,
wrote it.
but I thought we waited in the fast pass line.
Okay, maybe we did.
So that's really quick. The actual line is terrible.
Is it?
Terrible. And I don't know if people agree with me, but it's pretty much switchbacks with a wall in between each.
That's horrible.
I mean, there's things
You're
to
right.
look.
No, because we had one and it felt very claustrophobic.
Yeah, there is things to look at. There's little videos playing here and there, but like I'm like, just get me on this ride. Like I'm so done with this queue line right now. I hate it. I hate the pre-shows. I hate everything about that line.
I do hate that pre-show.
Just get me on the ride.
Yeah.
Get me on it.
And
But
then
yeah,
the
that
ride,
was just an
makes you
honorable
forget.
mention that I didn't throw in there. But yeah.
Okay, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think that's totally. People probably like forget about it because of how good the ride is. So you might not have a lot of people, but
Yeah, right.
okay, that's awesome. Well, I think we had some interesting lists. I would love to hear what y'all's favorite, cues, best cues, worst cues. Did we have something that didn't make your list, or vice versa?
Or should have made our
Yeah,
list.
probably should have made the list. Is how it would go. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode. We thank you so much if you've made it this far into it and sticking with us. And if you want to, feel so obliged to leave us a review on Spotify or iTunes, or go over and follow us at Countdown to the Castle on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We upload these in video format for you guys. But so I think that's everything for today. So until next time,
Let the countdown begin.